Hi, I'm back with yet another video. It is the wee hours of the morning, so I hope you guys can hear me. If not, you might have to turn up the speakers on your computer. So I'm really sorry about that. It's just, I don't want to wake the whole household up, as I said in my previous video. Just a couple minutes ago. I have a problem with insomnia. It's a physical disorder than a mental disorder, but I was kind of on the topic of mental disorders because something that just kind of is mind-boggling to me to like wrap my head around the different ideas that society has about mental disorders. Positive, negative, just kind of like, what the heck are you thinking kind of things. Like I said in my previous video, because of certain stigmas of mental disorders, obviously we know that very obviously people that have mental disorders are afraid to admit, or anything that could fall into the category of mental disorder, or just like needing help or needing to talk to a shrink or life coach or what have you, are cautious to seek out that kind of thing because they're afraid of the stigmas that come along with it. If you have any sort of anxiety disorder, or you're feeling down or depressed, or you just like need to talk to someone, if I can get things off your chest, they're afraid to like go to a psychiatrist or counselor or whatnot because of automatically, being thought as like a problem person or not like normal. But on the flip side of that, society is so quick to also label people that are just like experiencing normal human emotions as having a mental disorder, and that is mind-boggling to me. And I actually had that happen to me twice in the same period of time. I was going through some things. I had experienced a miscarriage, and having some like work problems and just home problems, and so but I was like functioning. There wasn't like anything wrong with me, I was like perfectly normal and functioning and everything else, but just because I wasn't like yay jumping up and down for joy, and being extremely sociable and everything, I was kind of in a funk, but naturally so. It was like normal human emotions, but people just automatically wanted to jump to like the conclusion like, oh, you must be depressed, like you have a problem. But no, I was mourning the loss of a child, and I was also having some, marriage difficulties, what with being sort of in a long distance relationship with like being in the military and everything. My husband also being in the military, so we were separated at this one by physical distance at this one point in time, and we're also having some other marriage little hijinks or whatever. So just little tips and so forth, and in regards, and most of that had to do with like being so far apart, and being in two different states at that time, so it's just like frustrations with like day-to-day running of things. And then in addition, I had suffered a miscarriage, and so, that was the loss of a child, but a lot of people didn't see it that way, and they just kind of expected me to just, like, be up and running around and running a marathon the next day, and, like, life of a party and whatnot, and, that's not normal, like, I had to grieve and, like, just, like, be retrospective and grieving and, like, melancholy for a little while, and people didn't want to give me that, and so automatically they jumped to the conclusion. There were people that jumped to the conclusion like, oh, there must be something wrong with you, maybe you need to go talk to somebody, I think you might be depressed. I was like, no, not any more than can be expected, I'm grieving, as I should be, and as could be expected, and, because of the loss of a child, but, how's that, like, being depressed? Why do you want to put that stigma on me? Well, and then in addition to that, I had a health problem. I was having, and see, this is no shit, like, heart attacks run in my family, heart attacks and heart problems run in my family, so, I got a little bit shook up because, heart disease is, I think the main or number one killer of women, and it runs in my family. So I was starting to have like chest pains and heart palpitations, and so when I mentioned this to my doctor, he automatically just jumped on the mental illness bandwagon of like, you know, not even wanting to like check out if there might be a problem with like my blood pressure, my heart, or whatnot. Like he just automatically jumped to the conclusion that, you know, I must have an anxiety disorder. And yes, I was feeling anxious at the time because of things that were going on. But, you know, I would have these heart palpitations and chest pains at just like ordinary, you know, doing ordinary things throughout the day, and when I wasn't like under high stress or anything. So, you know, I thought that it must be like a physical thing. And because in the past I had had some concerns about this exact thing, you know, I wanted to get it checked out, and when I did, then my doctor just automatically jumped on the, oh, mental illness, you know, let's write you a prescription, let's get you to see a counselor, what have you. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, you aren't even going to look into what might be medically wrong with me? And so that just kind of pissed me off that within the short amount of time, I was already, you know, being diagnosed with 2 different mental illnesses for just like normal, things that weren't even, there was nothing wrong with me mentally, you know. I had normal, I was going through like normal grief process, because of having had a miscarriage, and then in addition to that, I had high work stress, which made me anxious, but it was completely unrelated to the chest pains that I would have just at random, during periods of the day when I could be like completely at rest and like just sitting having a cup of tea or what not, and it was just like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? And I mentioned in my previous video, my dad works in a mental hospital, and it wasn't like his life's work. He did a lot of other things, but he's old enough where he could probably retire, but he never had like that cool, funky retirement 401k or whatever. So, you know, he's not quite ready to just settle down yet, because financially speaking, that's not really a possibility. So, you know, he's working in a hospital, in a mental hospital, and it seems like kind of hard work for a 60-something-year-old guy, but, you know, there's very physically demanding, but, you know, he does it, and he does it well. And a lot of the patients that are in there, I'm sure, are in there for good reason. You know, they need help. They have serious issues and they need help. But I have to wonder sometimes with mental patients, like, kind of the ideas that came to mind watching movies like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and Girl Interrupted, and I think it was Patch Adams, you know, different movies like that. And just my own observations, I kind of wonder sometimes, oh, I'm like flashing my gorgeous shoulder at you. But I just kind of wonder sometimes, like, how many of those people, because back in the day, they would take this whole thing to extremes, like any kind of person that seemed to be a menace to society was locked up in a mental institution. So I have to wonder, even nowadays, how many people that are in mental hospitals or, you know, in internment kind of situations. I don't even know if I'm saying that right. How many of them actually are mentally ill, and how many of them are just like misdiagnosed because of other things? And how many people maybe might be in there just for that reason, you know, the reason why people were often locked up in mental institutes and like pretty much tortured back in the 30s and 40s and in the olden days, because, maybe they had some radical ideas or whatever, and they were automatically labeled a menace to society and locked in there. I wonder how much of that still goes on today. I'm sure it's not as bad as it used to be, but I have a feeling that some people that are labeled schizophrenics and whatnot, that maybe are falsely labeled that way because maybe they're seen as a threat. I don't know. That's just kind of something that I wonder about. Because I think a lot of people are mislabeled when it comes to mental illness. I think because of those labels and that quickness to categorize people as such things, and I have to wonder how many people are misdiagnosed, that are just normal people going through normal human emotions, and then they get labeled this or that or the other. It's just weird. So yeah, so that, and what else? Oh, and crap, suicide. So that's something I wanted to talk about, and and I'm not going to say when or why or what the situations were, but I've dealt with that sort of thing in my own life personally in the past. But just some crazy stuff that was going on that kind of led me to that kind of drastic place where I was just like, might as well just kill myself. And it took me just re-examining the situation and how I felt, and being no one and nothing should put me in that kind of position where I feel like there's no other choice, or that much self-hatred or whatever, to want to do that. Nobody is ever going to make me, I've made this determination, nobody's ever going to make me feel like that to the point where, where I want to kill myself. So I'm probably going to make another video, because the longer these videos get, the harder it is to post them up on YouTube. But anyway, so I made that determination, and I'll talk more about that in the next video. But anyway, just some ideas I have about mental illness. I think it's a pretty interesting topic, so I had a lot of thoughts on it.